Oh, here you go.
Going live on the radio.
Yeah, I know it's a tight fit.
It's all good. Thank you.
Guys, tune in. We got Ebonee Davis.
Collard
Greens in the building now.
Live on the radio.
Collard Greens, wait to them. Yes, guys. Girl power in the building. Girl power. So we're gonna start. Tune in. Have us playing some music. And we are back, guys.
Yes, we are. Ebonee has finally gotten into the building.
Hey, I'm here.
We're about to do this.
I'm here.
So we're excited, guys. We
Yeah.
have Ebonee Davis, y'all. Ebonee Davis.
What's good?
So let's find out how collard greens. I'm about to say Callaloo Greens. That's our hashtag. So make sure
It
you look that up. But let's talk about how collard greens found you.
Yeah, it was like a day, like Women's History Month just started. And I was kind of just like, tweeting. I was like, these are some women I would love to interview on my radio show.
Mm-hmm.
And Ebonee actually responded, and it like made my day. She was just like, oh my gosh. So, here we are a couple weeks later. So, you see, you ask and you shall receive.
Exactly.
Right,
You gotta
right,
ask the
right.
universe what you want.
Right. That's dope, though. Who was the other girls you shouted out?
Okay, so definitely Ava DuVernay, one of my favorites.
I love Ava.
She's a beast.
She's
I can't
amazing.
wait for A Wrinkle in Time.
Yeah.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
It was one of my favorite
Everything
books
she
growing up.
touches, she got the Midas
That was
touch.
I read that book like 3 times. They're like, okay, we did the assignment already, let it go.
Right.
But I can't even remember at the moment. It was a whole bunch of ladies.
I just
on
know
that tweet.
Solange. Cause,
No, I had Solange on that tweet. I did.
We have to get Solange some way, somehow. Like,
It'll happen.
right,
I
right.
believe it. All right, y'all.
Yeah.
So, we got started a little late, but we're going to jump right into it. So, Ebonee, you want to tell people a little bit about yourself? Where are you from?
Yeah. Hey, my name is Ebonee. I'm from Seattle. I've lived in New York for about 4 years now. I moved here to start modeling when I was 19 years old. Recently, my career has taken a bit of a turn. I've become more vocal, more active, speaking about racial equality, and just representation in the fashion industry.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. We have an activist in the room, guys.
So I have a question for you, Ebonee.
Yeah.
When you started the fashion industry, what was your purpose? What was your idea of what do you want to represent when you was coming in?
When I first started, I wouldn't really say that my purpose was clear. It was just something that I wanted to do from a young age. So I didn't really have any intention behind what I was doing other than sort of just like the accolades and the merits that come along with modeling. The money, that's incentive right there.
Right.
But it wasn't like, oh, I want to come in the game and change it. Like, I didn't have any intentions of doing that when I first started. That didn't happen until a year and a half ago, when I was really like, okay, now I have this platform, now I have a purpose, now I have a voice, and I can make some changes.
All right. So modeling was something you always wanted to do, like, since you were a little girl.
Since I was a little girl.
Okay. So,
We all got the dreams.
I know, right? So was there
Exactly.
anyone you looked up to specifically when you were younger, like models?
I wouldn't really say there's anybody in the modeling industry who I looked up to be quite honest. There were, you have your iconic, you have Tyra Banks, you have Naomi Campbell, and they're obviously iconic. They've done so much in the industry, but as a little girl, considering representation and the lack thereof, they weren't people who I could say I really looked up to, because when I looked in the mirror, I didn't feel like I was being represented. You know what I mean? I felt like, the skin complexion, I guess, was there, but besides that, it was like, I don't look like a Barbie. Like, I don't have,
Right.
all the other features. So I just didn't feel like I could relate in a certain way. So yeah.
All right. So let's get into these real questions.
Ah.
So you decided to go natural while
Yeah.
you were already in your industry, right?
Yes.
Hashtag Team Natural.
Right.
Hashtag Team Natural.
Everybody here, right? Oh.
Right.
Hashtag Team Natural.
So, what urged you to make this decision, and how did it impact your career?
Really just wanted to be self-defined, not wanted to be controlled, not wanted to be told what to do. For so long I had been told what to do, and I listened to other people's opinions of how I should wear my hair, how I should dress, how I should, you know, even the type of jewelry I should wear. Like, there's really room for everyone, you know. And so I was like, well, I'm you know, I've been listening to other people's standards too, and I'm done with it. So really just that. And yeah, there was resistance. Like when I went into my agency, after I decided to go natural, the first thing that my agent said to me was like, what are you gonna do with that? Like, they're like, that whole they were like, that whole rolled out of bed look isn't gonna work. I was like, rolled out of bed, do you know how much shea moisture, coconut oil, motherfucking oh wait, I don't know if I can say that.
Right, girl, you already did.
I was like, do you know how many perm rods, like, do you know what I did to achieve this? Like, this twist out took me hours and it wasn't comfortable to sleep. Like, you got me messed up. That's facts. It's facts. You know it's facts. Like, that's real.
They don't know. They don't know how to do it.
Right.
They just, you know, put their hair on a little bobby pin, flat
Throw it in
iron
some
it,
water and walk
they
out.
try.
It's done. It's done. But I was like, okay, this whole rolled out of bed thing isn't gonna work. All right, whatever. I just stuck with it. And I ended up booking the biggest campaign that I booked of my career, and that was the Calvin Klein campaign that ended up in Soho. Yeah, on Houston. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
All right. So
Do you feel like you've created a movement, or are you like just basically added to a movement that was already created?
I feel like I'm adding to a movement that was already created, but at the same time, I have a platform to push the movement even further. Like, I was so inspired just by like going through Instagram and seeing like regular people, not regular people, just like everyday people, you know, like making the decision to cut their hair and like cut off the perms and go natural, this, that, and the other, and just like all the other tutorials that you see on Instagram now, and just like so inspired by that culture. And I was like, I want to be a part of this. But being in the position that I'm in, I get to push it even further. You know what I mean? Because I have the platform, I have the voice.
thank you, Uncle Ray.
I have the platform and I have the voice to really mobilize the movement.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about this platform. So your platform actually took you to the TEDx talk at the University of Nevada.
Right.
Yeah.
Amazing
I
talk.
was like,
by the
no,
way.
for real. I watched it and I was like, ooh.
And your outfit too.
Come on.
Okay.
Let them know.
Shout out to my stylist.
But
at
then I was like,
Fresh.
Nevada.
Right.
But, okay, so in the talk you said, although I am black, to be labeled black is to be stripped of value and pigeonholed into a world of subsidiary work.
Yes.
So how is this shown in your career to date? Have you been pigeonholed yourself?
I haven't been pigeonholed because, like, that was in the context of, like, you shouldn't work for magazines like Ebonee and Essence magazine because, you know, being associated with a black publication lessens your value. And I haven't, well, I just shot for Essence, actually, so you can go pick up the March issue of Essence magazine.
Right,
Ava DuVernay on the cover.
Yes, right. She be killing covers, too.
She
be killing them covers.
Right. But, yeah, I haven't been pigeonholed, I don't think, in my career. You know, just, I guess, because I wasn't allowed to do those things initially.
Right.
But if I had done those things, I think there's a definite possibility that I would have been pigeonholed, because from the perspective of someone in the industry, it's not seen as like high fashion, or it's not seen as mainstream. It's urban. It's something separate. Just like, you know, the BET Awards doesn't hold the same stature as like the Grammys.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's
Right.
like, these are our artists who we listen to. Our artists are getting recognized. You know, these are the people that I would give trophies to, because these are the people that are coming out of my radio.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it doesn't have the same level of prestige. It's not mainstream. It's urban. It's off the mark. You know, and that's being marginalized. You know,
Yeah.
a perfect example of how we're marginalized. Even in the modeling industry, you can be marginalized.
It's true. I don't think a lot of people know that either.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you just see like modeling. It's just like, oh yeah,
Right.
let's take
Right,
pictures.
It's like it's all one. Nah,
But
like
there's so much more.
Mhm.
Like everything has like, you know, a system. There's a system
It's
to
really
everything.
everything.
That's why I kind of like American Next Top Model a little bit, because it kind of shows you like certain things within the fashion industry. Even though you don't know all the background to it, like you actually have an idea of what you're facing and what you have to go through. Like,
You actually had an experience with America's.
Yeah, I did. I was
no.
on it when I was 18, young
What?
buck.
How was your experience?
Yeah, did you enjoy it?
It was cool. It was cool. I got to go to Hong Kong. That was tight.
That's
Yeah, it was cool. Just like even for the travel experience alone, you know.
All right.
And you met Tyra and everything.
I met Tyra.
Yes, girl.
Tyra was
I met
bad.
Tyra.
I
Right?
feel like she got better when she got thick. I was like, okay, Tyra. All right.
Right.
But okay, so let's talk about this open letter you wrote to the fashion industry.
All right.
So, you wrote the letter following the cold blood murder of Alton Stirling.
Yes.
So, you know, what was going through your mind after did you watch the video, or
Yeah.
what was
It
going
was
through your
disturbing.
mind after
It
this?
was really disturbing.
Mm.
I think that's what prompted me to write the letter, was just like the footage. Like, it was so disturbing, you know. It was just chaos going through my mind. It was like, why is this happening? You
Right.
know, why is this happening? Why do we have targets on our backs? Like, what have we done to deserve this? You know what I mean? And quite frankly, the answer is nothing. We haven't done anything to deserve this treatment. And it made me sad, and it made me angry, and it was sort of this awakening. I have a voice, you know.
Right,
it was a
right.
moment where I was like, I have a voice and I have a platform, and I can't, you know, silence is violence. Like, at that point, when you have 100,000 people who follow you on Instagram, and you're in magazines, and you're on television, and you're on the radio, but you're not speaking on something that's bigger than you, you know, speaking on something that can make a difference. Like, it was a turning point for me, for sure.
Okay. So, I mean, there were a lot of those same kinds of deaths that
Right,
year.
right.
Like 2016 was probably like
Yeah.
one of the worst.
Yeah.
For me since Trayvon.
Yeah.
Trayvon was kind of like, you know, my.
I mean,
That
it was like a couple days later, Philando
Right.
Castile, and
It was
in
like
the
three
Facebook
in
live
a
stream, it
couple
was just
days.
ridiculous. That was crazy.
And then there was like those 3 over like there was 3 like, what was that, around July 4th? I was like, this is Independence Day,
Right.
and this is what we're doing. Okay, cool. But you know, like, I feel like it kind of inspired a lot of people to, like, for lack of a better term, become woke.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
would you say that, you know, you were woke or conscious prior to this incident, or was like this the moment? Like, have you grown up like this way? Like, have you always been?
Yeah. I mean, I've done the protests before. I've done the marches in New York before, and I was already, you know, aware of the issue. But I think in that moment, it really became personal, like, in a way that it hadn't before. Like, I have a personal responsibility to deal with this.
Yeah.
You know, before it was just sort of like an awareness. You know, I can be out in the streets. I can, you know, join the masses. But then last summer, it was like, what am I going to do personally to help the situation? And then from that personal place, I definitely took it upon myself to become more conscious, become more aware, read more books, learn more about systemic racism, learn more about what has led us to this place, because it's hard to know what to do to fix a situation when you don't know how we got to where we are.
True.
And I think prior to last year, I was just sort of like reacting to what was going on around me. Now, because I understand the system, I can be proactive.
Okay.
And we definitely said that in one of our episodes. Like, educate yourself. Like, you
Yeah.
gotta know what you're going through.
Right.
So,
Definitely.
So, would you say... No, who did you talk to about the idea of writing the letter?
Nobody.
Really?
So you
I
just went ahead and
Right.
I just did it. It was so from the heart. Like, it was so just like,
That's the best part, honestly.
Yeah.
Like,
it was so just like, it happened, and then I was like, I have to do this. Like, I remember catching the train home after work that day, and it just like kept spinning around in my mind, and I was like, I have to get this out. Like, this feeling that's inside of me, like, I have to put it on paper, because it's like, it's killing me. You know what I mean? Like, I have to put these feelings on paper. So I didn't really talk to anybody about it. I have a friend who's a writer, and after I wrote it, I sent it over for her to proofread. She read it, sent it back, and then I started pitching it out like the same night. I follow a couple like editors for magazines on Instagram, social media, so I was like DMing people. That's like my MO. Like, I just be sliding in the DMs when I need to get something done. Like, that's how I got my TED Talk. But honestly,
smart, though. Like,
honestly,
you
you have access to everyone via social media. Like, don't be
Yeah.
afraid to use that. But yeah, so I just started sliding in DMs to all these magazine editors, and Harper's Bazaar got back to me, and that was that. They amended it a little bit, and then published, and it got a really wide viewership, which was amazing.
Something to it, yeah.
So, like, who was the first person that, like, hit you up about the letter? Like, the first person to give you feedback or be like, yo, what's going on? What is this?
First person to hit me up, dang, I don't really remember. Honestly, though, all the feedback that I got was super positive. Like,
That's
nothing
awesome.
that I got back was like, what are you doing? Like, you
That's
shouldn't be
amazing,
speaking
though.
up about this. You know, everything that I got was like, it was good.
That's what's up, because
Yeah.
social media could be kind of harsh sometimes.
I was a little bit scared. Yeah, I was a little
Yeah.
bit scared, honestly. Like, I have people who troll me, people who will, like, hop on my live feed and, like, call me the
Right.
N-word for no reason. I just be like, okay, like, and crazy, say crazy stuff to me. But, yeah, the feedback was all real positive.
Right. And you have to have a strong mindset, too, knowing what,
No, for real.
what you're about to put out, and
Yeah.
knowing what, like, prepare your mind for what you're going to hear.
Right.
Because these trolls play
And
no games.
And you got to think about it, like, you're fighting a 400-year system, you know what I
Right,
mean? Even
right.
longer than that. And so, and it's like the things that are at stake here, like, it's people's power, it's people's privilege, it's people's financial well-being that's at stake here. For them to give me power, they would have to relinquish those things. So as much as I want to fight for what I believe in, they're going to fight to retain the power that they have and, you know, the privilege that they have. So there's always going to be backlash no matter what.
Right.
You know, you don't easily just let go of power and privilege, like,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah. I think one of the most amazing things is the fact that you have people around you that are supporting you.
Yeah.
Because I feel like too often, like, I feel like if I was like, you know, I'm going to write a letter to, like, I would have people in my life be like, nah, you tripping.
Right.
Just leave
That's
it alone.
true.
Like,
True.
don't send no letters. Just go home, go
Yeah.
sleep. So it's awesome that you have people that'll support you. So, you know, did you see Get Out? Did you
I
Yeah.
saw Get Out. I
Awesome.
saw it. Ooh.
What was your
saw
views on
it.
that?
Okay.
What was your views on it?
I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I
it
thought it
was.
was so
It was.
on point, timely, necessary.
Right, right.
It just touched on so many aspects of our culture and the way our society is set up, and I just thought it was like, it was comical too, which was
Right,
just
yes,
like,
right, right.
how do you do comedy, horror, and like social commentary in one movie? You're a genius. You know? That's
Did you see
crazy.
the hidden messages that was portrayed in the movie? Because afterwards they had one on our last episode, I think, right now.
Yeah, we talked
We was
about
talking about the hidden messages, like how when he was using the cotton in the chair.
Right, it's like picking cotton.
Yeah,
I read some of the
Some
like
of them are
blogs
crazy.
afterward, and I was like, oh my god, like
didn't-
I
We
love
didn't
the
know
one
that.
about
So
Walter
subtle.
when he was
running,
running.
and it was like it's because he lost the race.
I was
Yeah.
like, you're not over it.
You're not over it.
Like,
Masses?
he ain't think about
Right.
But I mean, let's talk about this concept of the sunken
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
Like, I
Sunken
feel like
place.
that was so real for all of us. Like, I was
Yeah.
sitting there in tears because I know I've been in
Yeah.
situations where I felt like I was in a sunken place.
It's true.
So, like, what do you guys think? Like, have there ever been instances when you've been in a sunken place and you felt like you just couldn't do anything but, like...
Definitely.
Mhm.
I've felt immobilized at certain points, but I feel like it's even bigger. Like, I feel like we're all kind of in the sunken place, you know, being marginalized in America. And I feel like we're not aware of the sunken place. Like, I feel like I was in the sunken place in the beginning of my modeling career, but I didn't have the awareness to realize that I was there. And I'm still in that place because I'm a Black woman in a very white, very male-dominated society.
Right.
But I'm aware of the space that I'm in, if that makes sense. True. So I didn't have the consciousness of where I was, meaning I was in an industry that it revolves around Eurocentric beauty standards, and I was being asked to conform to those standards, and I was conforming to those standards. I didn't realize that I was participating in a system that marginalizes Black people. I didn't realize that by conforming to those beauty standards, I was participating in a system that, you know, dehumanizes Black people, that puts people of color on a lower totem than white people. Now, being conscious, being aware of where I stand, even though I'm still in that place because we're still living in this society, at least I know where I am. I know I'm here, and I know what I have to do to get out.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of Black people, I think, who aren't aware of the place. We just don't know where we stand in the world. You know, you wake up, you go to work, you work your job, you do your 9 to 5, you come home, you take care of your kids, you do what you got to do. You don't think about, where do I stand in American fabric? Where is my stitch? You don't think like that, you know, unless you really do think like that and you're really aware and you're really conscious of that.
Yeah, some are just so happy to be a part. Or, you know, just don't care, don't want to know.
Right.
Some of them are just
But
lost
some
with
people
identity.
don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I would say when I started modeling, like, I didn't know what I didn't know. I've always considered myself a pretty intelligent person, a pretty aware person. I've always, you know, tried to educate myself the best that I can, but I didn't know what I didn't know. And it wasn't until I became aware of that. And I was like, oh, there's a lot that I don't know. Like, I need to go educate myself. Like, me straightening my hair isn't just about me straightening my hair. It's about my self-esteem being under attack from the time that I'm an infant into my adulthood. It's about beauty standards compromising my sense of self, so I can't, you know, determine for myself the life that I want to live. So I feel like I always have to be under someone else's thumb, under someone else's control, so someone else gets to dictate how I live my life. And I never get to actualize and you know, self-actualize and be the best version of myself, be the best person that I can be, because I feel inferior. And I don't even know that I'm being made to feel inferior. I don't know why I look at myself and I don't think I'm beautiful. I don't know why I look in the mirror and I feel like I'm not good enough.
Right.
You know, I don't know why I look in the mirror and I feel like my nose is too big or my skin is too dark or my hair is too nappy. All I know is that I feel this way.
Yeah.
Yes, get in your bag, sis.
Right, I'm like,
get in your bag. Like, don't be like,
like I'm a spoken word, right?
TED Talk Part 2, like.
No, like, I think it's something really important for all the little brown girls to know.
Exactly.
You know? I feel like you
gotta be aware.
Every Black girl's been in this, like, in the position where they're just like, you know, I don't like this about myself, or I wish I was more this, or I used to be like that, you know?
And it's like, you insecure and you don't even know that people, there's literally people who are banking off of your insecurity. They are counting on you to be insecure so they can sell you shit.
Yep.
You know, they're counting on you to be insecure so you don't take their spot, so you don't reach where they are, so you don't come for their crown.
Right.
They're banking on you to be insecure. And you're insecure and you feel like it's something wrong with you. It's people who got millions of dollars invested in you feeling insecure.
You know, I don't know what to say after that. Like, Ebonee is killing the game right now.
Like, I'm about to hand you my mic.
Right. And that's like, honestly, like, I wanted to quit modeling after this election, because it's like, I work in that specific, the beauty industry, you know what I mean? I work in that industry where it's like, that's where the millions of dollars are being invested in making people feel insecure. I don't want to be the person who somebody looks at and goes, geez, I wish I could look like that girl. Like, I'm going to go buy what she has because that's going to make me feel better. Like, that could never make you feel better. You know what I mean? It has to start with love. It has to start with self-love. Like, I don't want to perpetuate the idea of perfection. I don't want to perpetuate the idea that I'm better than you, or, you know.
So what would you have to say to the younger girls out here? Because we had an episode where we was talking about body positivity and loving yourself and like knowing your self identity, and we was talking about how a lot of high schoolers and junior high schoolers really struggle with that. Because I know for me, like, when I started in junior high school, like, I used to be teased a lot because I'm a tall girl, and like, and I'm skinny, so that made it even worse. So I used to be called like chicken legs, string beans, everything. And it took a while for you to, like, as you're growing up, it takes you a while to accept who you are. Yeah, so what would you say to the younger girls who are struggling with that?
Again, it's people banking on that. Like, it starts with just like, it starts with self-love. Like, it really, like, it's so simple. Like, it really gets no deeper than that. It's really just about loving yourself. You know what I mean? Like, accepting yourself for who you are, understanding even understanding that, like, you're the sum of the things that you've been through. You know what I mean? Like, that was something that I struggled with when it came to self-love. Is like, you know, I felt like because of my past and because of the things that I've been through, like, I was rejecting myself. I didn't feel like I was good enough. I felt like, people wouldn't think I was good enough, and if I tried to be myself, they wouldn't accept me for it. But I realized that self-love also comes from accepting the things that you've been through, like, literally accepting every single part of who you are, even, the parts that aren't easy to love, like the parts about yourself that you hate. Like, that's what makes you you. And usually the things that you hate most about yourself are the things that other people love. Like, those are the things that make you special. Those are the things that make you unique. Those are the things that separate you from the person standing next to you.
So, like, on this topic of self-love and like self-care, what are some things that you do to take care of Ebonee?
You did say Shea Moisture, so
right.
Hashtag Shea Moisture out here,
Shout out to Shea Moisture. Right. Send me the care package.
Right. Send it to
everybody. Man, I just like to take bubble baths. Honestly, I like to take baths. I like to just spend time with myself. I love being alone. I love spending time alone. I get such a charge from just being by myself. I love being around other people too, but I really get my energy from being with myself, being with my thoughts, and just like cultivating myself in that way, thinking of how I can improve myself and just recharge. What else do? I like to just read and just sit back. I go to the movies by myself. Like, I'm not a person who's afraid to take myself on dates. So I go to dinner by myself. I go to the movies by myself.
People be trying to make me feel bad about liking. I like to be alone.
No.
So like Applebee's 2 for $20 by yourself.
2 for $20 by myself. That's a lot of food.
That's right. Why would you order 2 for $20 by yourself?
You make yourself stand out if you do that.
Right.
You're like, oh, you alone, sis?
Is this good? Yes, it is.
Yeah, maybe not Applebee's 2 for $20, but I'll definitely take myself somewhere and I don't know.
Treat
yourself. Love yourself.
Right. All right. So this is a good question for like all of us, young women who want to change the world. Mm-hmm. How can we create a world for young women, Black and brown women and children to be able to grow and love themselves and see themselves as beautiful? Mm-hmm. How can we set the standard? What things can we do now to create that space for the brown girl that's looking in the mirror right now?
I mean, it starts with you, changing yourself before you can try to change someone else. Definitely. Right. So really taking the time to get to a place where you're at your peak of self-love and, emitting all the love that you can and making sure that you're saving love for yourself. Mm-hmm. and really just recognizing, I guess, the systems of oppression that really affect the Black community, and specifically Black women and girls, and really working to instill values in the young women that don't allow them to slip into that way of thinking where they feel inferior or inadequate, or don't feel like they have the same abilities or the same level of beauty or anything as any other child would feel. You know, I really just, I think it's up to people like me too, you know, people with the platform, people with the voice, people who are in the media, to try to make a difference. Like, I definitely, I see it happening now. I do see more representation in movies and magazines and in the industry, and hopefully that will continue, because I feel like it makes such a big difference when you can turn on the television or open a magazine and see someone who looks like you, and they're at they're on a certain level, and so you can imagine yourself on that level too. It's hard to imagine yourself on a certain level when you don't see anybody there who looks like you.
Right.
It's true. All right.
So, Ebonee, being a model, you have to have a fashion sense, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, where do you like to shop? What are your favorite stores, and what's your favorite style?
Ooh, I would say I don't really have, I honestly shop all over. Like, I don't really have a favorite, but I would say my style is kind of like a mix between like punk, kind of rock style, a little bit of street style, and then like 70s, like 80s, like glamour.
Okay.
I don't know, like I
like
love
the flare of the pants.
I love flare
and-
pants,
I do
and
too.
I love like jewelry and just like the natural hair. Like, I just, Diana Ross, like I just think it's so,
I
I think
love
it was
Diana
such a
Ross.
good time for like Black culture and like Black
was.
fashion,
Right.
you know, like Teddy Pendergrass, like chest out. I love to have my chest out. I don't know, I love it. I think it looks good. Like, I do it for me. But
Gotta make sure you add that, you know?
exactly, I do it for me. But yeah, just like I want like a buttery silk top and like some flary pants. Like, that made me feel good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay, guys, I know this wasn't planned,
Mm-hmm.
but let me just bring this up, because I was talking about this on Facebook earlier.
Okay.
So, you know, for our soul segment, we always talk about, you know, a hot topic, you know, and we always started off with soul, because anytime you talk to your friends, it's like, so let me tell you. So this is what I saw. So, can we talk about, I know her real name is Tommy Lauren, but it's Tammy. Tammy has been, her show has been suspended
Yes.
for the week because she made a comment about being pro-choice. And I guess that was just too much for Republicans.
It's too radical.
Too radical. You can say what you want about Muslims and Black people, but women being able to make a choice about having a baby or not, no.
Okay, right.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
So how are we feeling about this?
It's funny that she got suspended for that reason, because
Right.
it's like she was actually saying something I agree with for once in her entire career, or
Right.
like in the entirety of
Right.
ever knowing who she is. She said some shit. She said something that I agree with. It's funny that she got suspended for that reason, but I'm glad she's suspended, just to get her off the air. Like,
You're definitely right, because she
No,
said
for
so
real.
much crazy stuff before. And it's
Crazy.
like, can you...
that whole like snowflake thing.
Right.
Like, what? She's just crazy. Like,
I'm happy. I feel bad though, because, you know, I feel like she can spew as much discriminatory speech as she wants, but she forgets that she's still a minority. You're a woman.
yeah,
You're right.
So at the end of the day,
definitely.
when they check you, they check you.
Right.
Right.
They don't care what your name is, what you've said.
Right.
And you know, the only people that'll really go to bat for her are the people she's insulted.
Right.
Because I ain't gonna say nothing. You got this, sis. It's all you. You put yourself there. So get yourself out.
Right.
But you know what? Shout out to you, Tammy.
Right.
Shout out to you, Tams.
Right. We usually have horse of the hour. We're about to add that soon. So, Tammy,
She's
you're
our first horse.
Right. So, there's another soap segment we had. I see that Nike Hijab is coming out in
Oh,
spring
yeah.
2018, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is your views on that?
I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, like I know a lot of I used to run track, so I know a lot of like Muslims that run, and they don't have something that represents them. And the hijab is something, especially for the women, that represent who they are and it's a part of their identity.
Right.
I think that's really dope. Like something that they could be an athlete and they could still represent themselves, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I hope they have it in like different patterns, because I think the hijab, like their scarves have some dope patterns.
Yo,
like
I want to know where they go, because I love to wrap my hair.
Right.
Exactly.
I'm like, sis, take me with you.
right.
You know, we could be matching.
Exactly. No, I think it's so cool. I think it's really cool anytime people aren't forced to compromise their identity to do what they want to do or to participate in a certain field, because I think often we're asked to compromise our identity. Like, for example, wearing dreadlocks in the workplace was not seen as appropriate, and you know, there was a big dispute about that a while ago, but it's nice when you're able to be yourself and understand that that doesn't take away from your ability as a person or how capable you are to perform whatever task is at hand.
Right.
That's awesome.
So we have like 5 minutes left, guys. And just a shout out Ebonee Davis for today.
For real,
honestly,
this is great.
it is.
Yeah, this is awesome.
We gotta put you on the show, actually.
No, for real. Like, I feel like we were just chilling.
Right. Like tea time.
I like this. Bring me back.
No, for real. Whenever.
I'll come back for round 2.
Yes.
All right. So, what are like some future plans? Like, what are some things that people should look out for from you?
Future plans. Well, if you haven't already, you should watch my TED Talk. It's on YouTube, and it's called Black Girl Magic in the Fashion Industry. Look that up. Watch it. Let me know what you think. Slide me a DM. I might not get back to you, but I'd appreciate it just to get some feedback. Or you can comment. You know what I mean? In the future, man, I don't know. I really don't know what the future holds at this point. It's really, I'm at this interesting intersection with modeling and activism, and this is a place I've never been before. So it's, you know, a year ago, if you would have asked me what my goals are, I would have listed, 10 different modeling jobs that I wanted to do, but that sort of changed. Because now, in conjunction to modeling, I have activism and using my voice, and I don't know where that's going to take me, but I'm really excited to see.
Yes, I'm saying book deal.
Right. I definitely, I want to write a book.
You need to talk at a couple commencements, like mine next year. Like,
right.
I'm actually going to suggest that. But this was awesome. Like, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
We gotta do this again. All right, so
I'll be back.
Going out, what's your favorite song?
Yes.
Oh, what's my favorite song?
Yeah, right
Shoot,
now.
I was supposed to think
now.
about this. Okay. Right now, I really like Bounce Back by Lil Sean. Honestly, like, I don't know why, but, or something off the new Future album. Rent Money. Oh, that's my favorite.
Wow.
Can we play that one?
So we're gonna be playing Future, Rent Money Out.
Like I said earlier.
Right.
But some people want to argue.
I love it.
So guys, this has been Callaloo and Collard Greens.
Episode 7.
Right. And shout out to Ebonee Davis for an amazing interview,
Yes.
guys. And we'll see you on Tuesday again.
Next week, 6 to 7.
Right. mywbcr.com. Hey. Okay.
Hey.
Yeah, that was so dope.
So
Thank
when
you
it,
so much.
yeah, thank
No, this was
you.
great.
When it, so you're streaming on Facebook Live, does it save those videos? Or
on the page, yes.
so if I go to your Facebook,
I think you can save this
cool.
too, actually, on Instagram now.
Really?
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
save
you
it to
can
your
save
phone,
the
right?
Instagram lives.
Can you?
I think so.
Oh wow.
Like when you turn it off, I think there's a save button on the side now. I
Okay.
just saw it. I was like, oh shoot, like.
Okay. I'm gonna put the. I like this. I feel
The
like
headphones, right? I know.
What is this for you?
It's Snapchat.
Yeah.
We did it for you.
Hey.
Oh, Uncle Ray.
Tell me, don't assume that we don't have it.
Ebonee Davis, this is Uncle Ray.
I was
Hey.
wondering.
Uncle Ray's is
Ebony, how you
Ebony.
doing?
I'm good.
That
This
was
is
nice.
Beanie, look. Now he being civilized.
Right. They were
Hey,
just
I'm
yelling
good.
at
Yeah,
us
I'm
before you
single.
got here.
Ebony.
Single, you
So
single?
you sing.
I'm single.
That was my answer
That's
first,
crazy.
bro. Watch it. Oh, you see that? Oh, you see that?
They've been
That
trying
was
to figure out
mine.
how to
That
shoot
should've-
their shot.
So you gotta shoot
Before
it.
you got here.
See, that's one thing you have to try.